could be looking to sort of seal their home semi. In fact, it won't be a home semi-final, will it? Because both semi-finals are going to get played on the same day. Oh, it will be home for them because it's going to be at the Totally Wicked Stadium anyway, both the semi-finals. Championship game of the week is Bradford versus Whitehaven Sunday at 3 p.m. because this one has something on it. If Bradford win, they can still grab third. If Whitehaven win, they can get into the playoffs if London lose at York, which certainly isn't a foregone conclusion, especially with some of the York players doing the sort of farewell tour and that sort of thing. So that's an interesting game. In League One, there's 2 games of the week to talk about. It's the playoffs. There's 2 playoffs being played. There's the elimination playoff, which is Doncaster versus Hunslet. I believe that's being played on Sunday afternoon. You can watch that on our league. And North Wales versus Keighley, that's the qualifying playoff. So whoever loses that game gets another go against the winner of the other game. That's being played Saturday evening, I think 6 o'clock kickoff on our league. I might be wrong with the kickoff time, but it's Saturday evening, that one. So interesting there. See if North Wales can keep up their really good run of form, especially at home. That'll be interesting. They knocked Keighley off away, didn't they, a few weeks ago when they were in that fine run of form. And Doncaster seemed to be a bit on the slide, with Hunslet a bit on the rise. So 2 interesting games there. NRL finals: Sea Eagles versus Roosters Friday at 10:50 a.m. and Panthers versus Eels Saturday at 10:50 a.m. But no sort of potential Brit watch interest there in either of those games. But do get your fan views in on any of that rugby league action and any other rugby league action indeed that you take in over the next week. Send in your fan reviews and we'll talk about them next week. Look out for the links across our Twitter and Facebook pages over the weekends to be able to submit those fan reviews. But that's it for our predictions. We're now going to move into the wrap-up. Right, David, I asked you to prepare a quiz because, you're at home all day and I'm working.
Which is not unreasonable, Mark. Not reasonable. So I've got a little quiz for you. 3 questions. This is vaguely related to Emma Raducanu.
Okay.
She's famously 18 years old, Mark. So this is a rugby league quiz related to the year in which Emma Raducanu was born.
I thought it was going to be about players born in Canada to Romanian and Chinese parents.
No. That would have been a very short quiz. So, thinking about the year that Emma Raducanu was born, who scored the winning points in that year's grand final in the month before she was born?
Oh, right. So that means she'll be turning 19 in November. So she was born in 2003. No, 2. Sorry. 2. That's right, isn't it?
This is the first thing I've got to let you work out what year she was born.
Well, based on what you've said, if her birthday's the month after the grand final, that means she turns 19 then. So, yeah, that's right, isn't it? 2002. So, it wasn't Wigan. Can we skip to the question about the 2002 Challenge Cup final instead?
No, that is not in my question list.
That's weird, isn't it?
Funnily enough, and I can't ask you question 2 until you've answered question 1.
2002. I don't even know off the top of my head who won it, Bradford or Saints.
Mark, this was probably until this year the greatest grand final of all.
Oh, in that case, then Sean Long dropped goal.
It was Sean Long.
Yeah.
It was the Sean Long drop goal
after the joint voluntary tackle debate.
The very same.
Okay.
The very same. Now that night for Bradford, there were 3 players in the Bradford team who became future Saints. Can you name them?
Okay, Paul Anderson and Leon Price will be 2 of them. Are you there?
Yes, I'm just waiting for your third.
Oh, right, okay.
That was very good, though. Paul Anderson,
Lee Gilmore.
Lee Gilmore, well done. Well done. I'm going to give you 2 points for that. I think that was tricky. That was tricky. The month that Emma Raducanu was born, New Zealand toured.
Yes.
Where was the first test played?
Oh. Was it Ewood Park?
It was. I was there.
I was there as well.
Yeah, it was good. Well done. That's very good.
And I think I've got like a VHS or a DVD of that tour. So.
Yeah, very good. Very good. That was good. It was a good tour. Funnily enough, Sean Hoppy, who played for Saints in the grand final, in fact, set off the whole move that culminated in Long dropping the goal. Hoppy picked the ball up right on his dead ball line, and we marched down the field for Long to drop the goal. Hoppy was called into the New Zealand squad because they had so many injuries, and ended up playing in the third test.
Well, I remember we didn't go into it without injuries either, but we were quite deep at a couple of positions, weren't we, back then, with loose forward and hooker being pretty deep positions. I think in the end, Newton ended up playing a few of those games and was pretty outstanding. I think he might have even been man of the match in that game at Blackburn, actually. I can't remember exactly.
We got walloped in that first game, though, at Blackburn, didn't we? It was 30. New Zealand put 30 on us. I remember they scored a couple of really good tries down the wing, but it was a cold night that night.
Yeah.
I remember that. But it was good watching rugby up at Ewood Park. It's been a long time since we played there.
Well, that's the only time I've ever been there, yeah.
Yeah, I've been to watch football there as well, but I enjoyed the rugby more. So that's it, the quiz for this week.
Good stuff. Recommendations?
I'd like to say I have one, but I really don't. Whilst we've been doing the quiz, I've been drinking a 0 alcohol Tempranillo red wine that was recommended in the Times this Sunday. I have to say it's a bit crap. It basically tastes like expensive grape juice, which is what it is, really. So I wouldn't recommend that. But I've got nothing else for you, I'm afraid.
Trying to think of things. I walked past the new Wallace and Gromit statue in Preston City Centre the other day. That was people were queuing up to have photographs taken. I thought, I'm pretty sure that I'll come past it at some point where there's no one queuing up at some point in my life, so I'll wait till then. But yeah, well, I think the NFL season starting actually. There's one thing I was going to talk about. I've kind of been a bit tuned out from it this year. I don't know why. I just hadn't got as many NFL podcasts in my podcast rotation anymore, and hadn't kind of. Certainly, I dropped all the Steelers specific ones just because the hosts of them annoyed me. And so I'd kind of not normally, because of those sort of podcasts, I'll get really deep into what's going on at training camp, what's going on during the preseason, the roster cuts, and all that sort of stuff. But actually, it turned into a season starting with a couple of players turning up on the pitch that I didn't know very much about at all. So I wasn't. I don't know, maybe because my expectations are a bit lower as well this year for my team.
Mine certainly are.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed the opening game. I really enjoyed. I didn't watch the full game live, but I have NFL Game Pass where you can watch the condensed version of the game where you just see all the plays and they only replay like the touchdowns and stuff. So you don't.
You get it in 30, don't you? Game in 30, something like that.
Yeah, it's like 40. I think that game had a 48-minute cut just because there was so much happened, but it's usually about 40 minutes or so. Yeah. And but I really enjoyed the action from that one. The same with the late night game last night that I watched this morning in 40 minutes. The Rams-Bears game. So and the two games that were on last night on Sky as well, live on Sky, was the Steelers game was the first game. The Chiefs versus the Browns game was really entertaining as well, especially the first half of that game, really good. So yeah, I've really enjoyed the start to the NFL season, more than I was kind of anticipating doing. I don't know, it just wasn't capturing my attention this year as much, but yeah. It's good to have it back, although Emma keeps talking now about, it's winter now, innit? That means it's winter. That means the nights are drawing in.
She's not wrong. I always associate it with certainly the onset of autumn at the very least.
Yeah.
And my team is probably going to be crap this year, but they won yesterday, the Eagles, so I was very happy with that.
Their offensive line is a bit more... up to scratch, isn't it? Like at the start of this season anyway. Last year it was really patchy. And don't they have former NRL Jordan Mailata, is it? He's back in the lineup, isn't he, this year? He was injured, I think, a bit last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day it relies on the quarterback turning well. Jalen Hurts had a very, very good game yesterday. If you can get the protection, that's good. But I don't know whether he's capable of winning more than 5 or 6 games for the Eagles, to be honest. But we'll see.
Well, anyone who doesn't come prepared for your running game, like yesterday, then you'll be all right.
That'll help us.
Okay, what's coming up? I think it's Tim next week. His long-awaited return. I have to double check with him.
Return of the radio.
I'll just I'll have to check with the man, but I think it's Tim next week, and that's obviously the final week of the regular season. So we'll probably be focusing on those 2 televised games, and I must admit, unless something dramatic or exciting happens in the other games, or Derek Beaumont says something fucking stupid again or something, then I'm not anticipating there being a huge deal to talk about outside of those 2 televised games. Yeah, but we'll know more about what the playoffs are shaping up to look like. At that point, we'll find out if it's Leeds or Hull KR going to Wigan on Thursday night, and we'll find out if it's, who's going to Warrington on the Friday night, because that could be any one of the 3 at this stage going into that. So we'll wait and see what happens there. Make sure you check out our social media. We've talked a bit about our Instagram because we've been more active on it recently. So at Super League Pod it is on Twitter and Instagram. Facebook.com/Super League Pod. Or you can email us like Neil did at what we opened with at the top of the show, superleaguepod@gmail.com. Superleaguepod.com is where you'll find the episode blog post. That'll have links to anything that we're going to talk about now in a second, but also links to the Google forms to get your fan reviews in. Search for the show on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Stitcher, Spotify, Overcast, or anywhere you normally find your podcast. And we're on YouTube too, but it is audio only. Do you want to shout out to our friends, David?
Absolutely. Shout out to Rob's Toy Shop. Enter SLP discount at the checkout at Rob's Toy Shop and eBay and get 5% cash back on orders over £5. 1% back into the SLP coffers. Little Warden, vital alerts for hidden issues. Head to littlewarden.com to see what they can do for you. And Sarah's bookcase. Sarah sells Usborne books with access to over 3,000 titles from baby to young adults. There's something for everyone. Find out more on Facebook.
Yep, great stuff. Please do support those guys. And please do come back next week as well to listen to your favourite Rugby League podcast, the Super League Pod. But until then, goodbye.
Goodbye.